Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Good morning, good morning. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm so glad you're joining me this morning. I'm a little amped up. You know why? You know why? I'm not afraid to admit this. So Jay and I have had a friend that has come and helped us on our homestead for years. Okay, for years. He's always helped us out, and he loves being out here, loves being with the animals and stuff like that. And it's been like just a really great relationship, you know, back and forth. We give, he gives, like, it's been a wonderful relationship, and we love him. And, you know, he's had some things going on, so he hasn't been able to come out and help us for quite a while. And boy, let me tell you how I've missed him. You know, I mean, I know 5.5 acres, 5+ acres is not that much land, right? I get it. You know, there's real farmers out there that farm like hundreds of thousands of acres. Like, that blows my mind. Okay. But also 5+ acres is a lot of land for 2-3 people. I mean, I'm going to, like, you know, cause it's me, Jason, and Mateo, my son. And I would say my daughter, but my daughter has never helped on the farm. Okay. I'm going to be honest. She's a dancer. You know what I'm saying? Like she likes to look at the animals and stuff, but she's not all that into it, So she's never really been one to dive in and, get dirty. Sure, she'll pet the animals, she'll feed the animals, but she ain't exactly helping. You know what I'm saying? So it's always kind of been us three that, feed cattle, move cattle, load cattle on trailers, herd chickens. Like it's us and we love it. We love what we're doing. I'm not complaining, okay? I'm not complaining. But you don't know what you have until it's gone, right? So he's been away for a while. And let me tell you, the poop stacks up in the llama pen and the cat's barn gets messy. And man, trying to stay on top of all that, plus all this that we do, it's a lot. Okay, I'm not complaining, but it is a lot. So today he was here and I went out and I was rounding up my cats to put them back in the barn for the night yesterday. I should say yesterday. And it just, everything is clean, I just stood there for a moment because I always feel like I'm kind of playing catch up on the farm. I didn't do this or I didn't do that. And I'm always like, oh, I got to get to the next thing that I have to, what it's like with chores, right? And today I was just like, oh my gosh, we're getting caught up. Like, this is fantastic. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but like getting a little bit of help around a farm is like, it's just glorious, people. It's absolutely glorious. I highly recommend it. Even if it's just a little poop picking upping and, hay feeding and fixing all the stuff that breaks because everything's always breaking all the time. I don't know why that is. It's just kind of, I've just gotten used to it. Like everything's always breaking all the time here. Like fence comes down, chicken coop, whatever. So if you're one of those ladies, that's like, oh my gosh, I would love to live on a glorious little Instagram farm. It's so awesome. I have a message for you. Yes, it is beautiful. And I do love it. But also, there is a lot of poop, okay? And sometimes you may literally have to grab a cow by its horns, like quite literally might have to. And so like it's not all glorious Instagram ready, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Every bit of it is worth it if you are the type of person that likes that thing. Don't get sucked into the Instagram ready. Because it ain't that way. It is not polished like that. It is rewarding and it's deeply spiritual. For me, it's the spiritual part of it that I'm so grateful for, to be able to, be around animals and work my land. So if that's your jam, then I say dive in wholeheartedly. But if you just kind of like the whole farmy thing and, it's really, you really want to have a really nice Instagram and have pictures of animals, don't do it, because you truly have to have a love for what you're doing to work and to like keep on top of even just 5 and a bit acres. Okay? So that's my public service announcement for today. I'm so grateful that I have a little bit of help this week here on the homestead. It is awesome. Merry Christmas to me. I hope you're having a good week so far. I have quite a bit to talk about today. Of course, there's a very sad news, and I brought it up yesterday, but we really didn't know much yesterday about Rob Reiner and his passing with his wife. And, it was being, I think it's totally confirmed now that it was indeed his son. So we can talk about it. But so everybody's kind of, I think in shock, and there's a lot of stuff on social media about Rob Reiner's work. And of course, Trump's truth was, it's Trump. What are you going to do, right? It's Trump. But anyway, I find it very sad because there's a bigger conversation that I hope happens around this. Okay, so I want to share what was reported. I think this was reported on the War Room, if I remember correctly. So take a listen.
the son, he was in and out of rehab. We did find out that he shot up Wellbutrin, which is an antidepressant, which is given to children in state care, by the way. So we have a behavioral health industry that's embedded in the government, and it fully supports it. There's no exit plan. We had Matthew Perry, so hopefully the names of the treating psychiatrists will come out, and that will be a
Listen, we have a pharmaceutical model that is embedded into our government. COVID, right? The mandating of COVID shots. Pharma is very much a part of our economy. It is a huge part of our economy. It's very much a part of our politics because of the lobby. Okay. It's very much a part of even education, right? Because you have these, school counselors and whatnot that make recommendations to medicate your children. Like, it's everywhere. To medicate is the only answer if you would go by what is acceptable by the mainstream. And my question is, when are we going to stop this madness? When are we going to stop this madness? We are medicating things that don't even exist. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that we absolutely know that depression, anxiety, these are not a result of a chemical imbalance. Okay? That whole theory has been exposed for the fraud that it was and is. So we have the paper, we have the research, we have experts, we have articles, we have medical journals. Everybody's acknowledging this now, that behavioral issues, mental issues like depression, like ADD, even anxiety, these are not the result of a chemical imbalance in your brain. They are not. That was a very tidy theory that was presented in order to present the solution to the problem. Well, you have a chemical imbalance, you just put some more chemicals in there and it'll fix it. It doesn't do that. Ask anybody who has been on SSRIs. They will explain to you how it really just blunts everything. You really don't feel anything. And so the solution isn't fixing anything. It's just flattening everything. So you don't actually experience emotion. So I guess you don't think about your depression anymore, which is an intriguing thought. Thinking about your mental illness creates more mental illness. I said it. I'm not the first one who has said it. We had a whole entire culture shift that focuses on self-care, self. There is such a thing as thinking about self too much. There is. Now, there's a lot of things. I'm not narrowing it down to one single thing. Okay. We have so many things stacked on top of each other when it comes to mental health and this issue that it's an epidemic, right? We have so many things stacked on top of each other. It's not a one thing that is causing this. The fact that we have identified and allowed it to be identified that mental illness is linked to a chemical imbalance in the brain, one thing, that's one thing that has contributed to the epidemic of the use of very dangerous pharmaceuticals. Just one thing. There's a lot of things that contribute to this. We haven't even begun to understand metabolic health when it comes to mental health. Oh, Yeah, it turns out you can't actually separate your mind, your brain, your thoughts from your body. They aren't two different modalities. You need a shrink, a brain doctor. You need a whole body doctor. You need to understand that your thoughts and the way you feel, your mood, is hugely impacted by your metabolic health. Again, not the whole picture. Listen, this stuff, you can't just simplify it. This is the way pharma wins patients over. They simplify the topic, nice and neat for you. Just take this pill, it'll fix it. Unfortunately, your body does not work that way. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back in 1 minute.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Right now, we have over 30 products. Buy one, get one free. All you got to do is visit naturallyinspiredstore.com. You can get my favorite collagen right now, buy one, get one free. Also, there are 30 other products, buy one, get one free. So visit the store today, naturallyinspiredstore.com. If you have any questions, just text me, 720-303-8868. It's really me. It's not a bot. And I promise I'll answer anything you ask me. Okay. I want to get back to this topic because it's very, very important. We've been kind of conned into, thinking that mental health is very simple, that this is just a chemical imbalance. Take a pill and you fix it, right? Unfortunately, that's not even how the body works. We are synergistic beings. To think you can separate mind from body, I mean, what a way to develop a whole nother industry. Right? What a way. I just want to read to you. Nausea, diarrhea, constipation, dry mouth, headache, dizziness, fatigue, insomnia, drowsiness, anxiety, nervousness, agitation, restlessness, tremors, sweating, weight gain, weight loss, decreased appetite, increased appetite, sexual dysfunction, low libido, delayed orgasm, erectile dysfunction, emotional blunting, numbness, brain fog, reduced concentration, memory issues, sleep disturbances, vivid dreams, increased blood sugar levels, increased bleeding risk, low sodium, gastrointestinal bleeding, increased heart rate, palpitations, elevated blood pressure, skin rash, hair thinning, hair loss, teeth grinding, tinnitus, increased suicidal thoughts, mania, hypomania, serotonin syndrome, withdrawal discontinuation symptoms like brain zaps, irritability, flu-like symptoms, rebound, anxiety, or depression, suicidal ideation, suicide attempts, self-harm behavior, increased risk of suicide, especially during initial dose changes, aggression, hostility, irritability, angry outbursts, violent thoughts, impulsivity, disinhibition, akathisia-associated agitation, inner restlessness, that's what that is, mania, psychotic symptoms, emotional dysregulation. These are all side effects from your pills that are supposed to make you feel better. So it turns out in the news, we've learned Rob Reiner's son, who has allegedly committed this horrific double murder, had a history of addiction, had a history of problems. We don't know what, and I don't want to speculate. I don't even want to spend too much time on this because it's horrific. I don't want to talk about the people involved because they just happen to be a famous family. This is happening all over and has been for a very long time. And somehow, we still haven't done anything about it. We still have not done anything about it. Check out this clip because I didn't even know that this was a thing, but apparently this is a thing. So watch this.
Popular prescription drug that, when misused, can be deadly. It's called Wellbutrin, and it's an antidepressant. Thousands of Canadians use it successfully to ease their symptoms, but addicts are now getting a hold of it. And as our senior investigative reporter Jennifer Tryon discovered, it gives them the same high as crack, but with ugly side effects. And a warning, some of the images in this story are disturbing.
On the streets, it's being called the poor man's cocaine.
Okay, I'm gonna cook the purple one.
He gets the prescription from his doctor. It's one of Canada's most popular antidepressants, Wellbutrin. It's also found in the over-the-counter anti-smoking drug, Zyban. But crushed, cooked, and injected, it delivers a crack cocaine-like high.
When was the last time you shot it?
I did one last night.
The proof is all over his body. Each hit leaves a scar, the result of the pill's hidden danger.
Now, if you want to come closer, you can almost see the gel.
Is that what's sort of like gathering on the top?
Yeah.
The pill contains fillers, binding agents to make it easy to swallow, harmless to digest, but toxic to the skin.
That's what everybody's after.
Toronto's Needle Exchange has seen a steady rise in skin abscesses, collapsed veins.
First of all, I didn't know that people were shooting up Wellbutrin. Here's what I want to talk about, though, and it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. In our society, we compartmentalize drug addicts. Oh, well, they're drug addicts. You know, they live on the street and, they're drug addicts. Well, just because you're not living on the street doesn't mean that you aren't a drug addict as well. We have been conditioned to accept pharmaceuticals and drugs as a solution. And they actually are not in many cases. Now, they're life-saving. And I am not saying that there's never a reason for pharmaceuticals. I'm not saying that. They can be life-saving after injury, after, you have a failed organ. There's a place for pharmaceuticals. Hear me, okay? I'm not saying never. But this tendency to accept a pharmaceutical as a solution to a medical discomfort, to a medical issue, without looking further into root cause, has people accepting solutions like these weight loss injectables. This is crazy. Because there's a very normal, natural solution to losing weight. There is. And it's called understanding your hormones. It's called understanding how to work with your body to create satiety, to create the hormone that makes you feel full, like leptin, to manage ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, to work and understand how insulin works in your body, and build muscle to make sure that your body is converting fuel into energy properly. Like, there's a very, very, very natural solution to this. Yet people have been conned into thinking you can't do it. You can't do it on your own. You're just broken. You're just big boned. You're just this. You're just never going to be able to accomplish that. Okay. Well, I don't know if you have seen, and I hate to point to people, specifically, but there are several women in the, public sphere, celebrities, who are clearly taking this drug. And they appear to be dying in front of our eyes. Their eyes are bulging. Their bodies are withering away. Their heads are looking very large for the stature of their body. And I'm not saying this to be mean, okay? I'm saying this because we're watching it. We're watching it. And our society is so fixated on thin equals health, which, doesn't really. Just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy. Everybody's heard the term skinny fat, right? Metabolic health is real. The number one cause of death in women is frailty. And yet we continue to idolize the ongoing skinny, right? This is a disease at this point. It's a thinking disease that the skinnier you are, the more value you have. It's very sad because, like I said, the number one cause of death for women, predictor of death. I'm not necessarily cause, but predictor of death or even injury, pain, disease, frailty. So, this is the sign of a very sick culture, this constant grabbing for a pharmaceutical to fix our problems. There are some things that we should be looking at when it comes to mental health. We need to be looking at metabolic health. How is your body using energy? Is it capable of using it? Is it efficient? Right? Do you have signs of insulin resistance? Are you dealing with things like anxiety, right? Just the gene mutation alone of MTHFR. Are your detox pathways open? Are you able to detox efficiently? Are you absorbing B vitamins? Right? Do you get enough omega-3 fats? These are just some of the things off the top of my head that this is what we should be looking at first with people when they come presenting with things like mood disorders, depression, anxiety. How much are you moving your body? There is very specific research done on exercise and antidepressants. And guess what performs better? Exercise. People that were in the exercise group reported higher instances of improvement on mood because of regular exercise, in contrast to people who were taking SSRIs. This is all long known information. This has been out this is not new, okay? The question is, why don't we do anything about it? Trauma. Huge cause. We're not addressing that in the public eye either. So many things. Stay tuned. I've got more on this You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia, and I'm so glad you're here.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Follow us on your favorite platform, whether that's Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, X. I don't know what else I'm missing, but all of the platforms. We're everywhere. I tell you, Jason puts this out everywhere. He's so good to me, trying to help me spread this message that I'm so passionate about, which is connecting people to real solutions for health. So follow us, like us, comment. I don't know, share it with a friend. Share it with somebody who you think would benefit from conversations like we have every single day. We're so grateful that you do that. So just look up Naturally Inspired Radio on your favorite platform. Comment, follow, and share. We're so grateful that you do that. It is because of you that Naturally Inspired is growing, and we are so grateful. This conversation is so long overdue. It's like, I feel like I've covered this story. I feel like I don't know how many times I've covered the story, the stories about SSRIs and about the fact that we do not have chemical imbalance in our brains that creates dysfunction. It's not what it is. I don't even know. If I had to guess, right? I've been doing this since 2019. 50 times, 60 times, maybe. Like, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. I've talked about this topic. And just to prove a point, okay, this is mainstream news. I think it's Fox News. Okay, just randomly rudimentary search on YouTube. And here's a 12-year-old docuseries featured on Fox 12 years ago. Can't say we don't know. Watch this.
It's not that it cured depression, it made them not care about whether they were depressed. They didn't care they all of a sudden were driving off the road or something like that. And so it occurred to me that maybe that was what was going on with these school shootings. We put together who was on the drugs, and it turned out an unbelievable amount of these school shooters had been taking antidepressants or something similar. My bosses were courageous in allowing me to go forward with a lot of pieces on this issue, and hopefully it's made a difference. Two years ago, 16-year-old Corey Badsgard took a rifle to his high school and held 23 classmates hostage. Just one more apparently unexplainable violent outburst at school. Unexplainable to everyone but Corey's dad.
And no doubt that the medication did this. I mean, he had amnesia, hallucinations earlier, which are all side effects of the medication.
Again, so, 12 years ago, here's the thing too. A lot of people think, oh, well, I take the medication and I'm fine on it and it really helped me. And okay. Here's the thing though, the follow-up, the monitoring of this type of medication, is not good. And when you are a young child, especially, imagine who's monitoring you. Just stop taking your pills one day because you don't feel like it. And crises ensues, right? Catastrophe ensues because you're having a breakdown. There is no real monitoring of it, okay? But regardless, like, these pills are not doing what they're telling people they're doing. They're not a real solution. Again, maybe one could make the argument that in a desperate situation, we could use these pharmaceuticals to tame the situation a little bit so we get a better controlled environment around the person of support and whatnot. But that's not what they're doing here. That's not what they're doing here. They're passing these out like they're no big deal. And they've been doing that for decades now. And what we have is a very sick nation because of it. We don't talk about trauma, and trauma should be in everybody's vocabulary, because if you're living on this planet, okay, you've experienced some measure of trauma. And it's very important that people understand trauma is not a competition, right? Your experience is your experience. And if the only thing you've ever been experienced that's painful to you is stubbing your toe, well, then that's a big deal because it's all relative. The other thing about trauma, which, tough, resilient people are prone to this, is a lot of it's stored in your subconscious. Your brain is so awesome that it says, okay, that was pretty heavy. We got life to do. So we're going to go ahead and put this in your subconscious so we can protect your consciousness and you can go along with your day. You can continue to function, because if we allowed you to really process this with your conscious mind at this given point in time, you might crack. You might crack. So the subconscious is there for a reason. It's always that your body's always there to protect you. But we don't have a lot of say over our subconscious, right? It's kind of autopilot. It does what it needs to do to protect us. And so we think, I'm not, consciously, I don't need to do anything with that. It is what it is, I'm not bothered by that. But your subconscious may tell a different story. And that often comes out in your actions, how you deal with people, how you manage your own relationships. You don't notice it, but you're being controlled by how you think about how your trauma is stored in your subconscious. It's kind of like, if you have a repeat pattern of, the way you deal with something, and you kind of getting crappy results on the same thing over and over again. And you can't figure out why. But if your friend has a crappy result over and over again, otherwise known as like a pattern, it's pretty easy for us to see, isn't it? But when you're in it, your friend has no idea that they're doing the same thing over and over again. You can tell maybe that they have issues with like abandonment, or they can't commit to things, and you see it show up in their life over and over again, but they cannot see that. Well, we're all like that. We all have patterns, and we're all run by our subconscious. So, trauma needs to be a big part of the conversation when we're dealing with results, especially with mental health, that we don't like, they're not the results that we want. We want better results. Then we have to have a conversation and acknowledge that trauma impacts this. Social programming is another area of topic when it comes to mental health that we don't discuss. Now, I'm going to put on my conspiracy theory crazy lady tinfoil hat here. Just, humor me, because you know how I am. I'm crazy conspiratorial. But in the case of like Rob Reiner, well, and this is allegedly, of course, we kind of happen to start understanding that there are pretty weird things going on in Hollywood, right? Some pretty weird, clubby type things where, maybe even one might call it a cult, where they have kind of rituals and, strange behaviors that you and I probably don't engage in. I can guarantee you, you know what I'm talking about? So, if you watch, some of these dealings with Rob Reiner and his son, you might come to the same conclusion that, there was some trouble there. There was some trouble there, and clearly a very troubled young man. And you got to ask yourself what kind of environment he was brought up in. And, we do have evidence of, institutional programs, programs like MK Ultra. It's not a conspiracy theory. MK Ultra is very real. You can read all about it. And a lot of times these people in Hollywood that are very influential people, celebrity types, they kind of wear two hats, because they're so influential to the public. They can often be, double agents, if you will. So they actually act as like media personalities to push certain narratives. It's not that far out there when you start looking at what's been going on in social media influencing. Social media influencers are paid to shape the culture by posting things and talking about things and spreading their content far and wide so that it reaches everybody like a bit of a mind virus, right? It's contagious. They're shaping culture. And Hollywood, that's not a secret. Just do a little bit of research and you'll start to understand how Hollywood has been used in conjunction, with agencies like the CIA to push certain narratives through movies, commercials, celebrity influence. It's all like propaganda to shape culture and to control the actions of groups of people. We're the groups of people. And so it's a sad case, with Rob Reiner and what's happened there. And I don't want to speculate anymore. I've probably already said too much about it. I pray for their family, and I can't imagine the pain that their children are going through. But I really hope, and who knows, right? But the fact that he was shooting Wellbutrin, what's the history on medication on this child? He's a grown man now. He's not a child. But what's the exposure to pharmaceuticals? That's what we should be asking in each and every one of these crazy, off the charts crimes, murders that happen. Should be the first question. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your Naturally Inspired moment.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Let me tell you, Sam is down 18 pounds. Bethany has never had more energy. Jenny absolutely loves her skin right now. And at 52, that is an awesome thing to be able to say. These are all people that text me, that I talk to all the time, telling me how happy they are for being a part of the Naturally Inspired community. And you can be a part of it too. All you have to do is go to naturallyinspiredstore.com. When you make a purchase of $50 worth of wellness products, which many people are using wellness products, I almost never talk to when I meet with people and we talk about during our assessments, I ask them, are you using vitamins? Oh, yeah. Like everybody buys wellness products. And so when you buy wellness products from Naturally Inspired Store, you get the Naturally Inspired community, and you get group weekly wellness workshops on Tuesday nights. Plus, you get access to my direct access to my health text line for personal one-on-one coaching as well. So it's so much more than just buying a product. It is becoming part of the Naturally Inspired community. You're also a part of changing the medical model and making that happen, which we all know. We cannot leave this broken model to our kids, to our grandkids, to anybody. For goodness sakes, we don't deserve this predatory, broken health model. So just by participating in the Naturally Inspired community, you're keeping this message going. You're helping more people connect to real solutions for health. So I can share more stories with you about how people have tapped out of the pharmaceutical model and into real solutions for health. So visit there today, naturallyinspiredstore.com. Book an assessment with me. If you don't know, I don't know what to get. I love that. That's what I love doing. I love connecting you to the things that you need to get better results. Talking about diet, talking about lifestyle, how you're moving your body. Are you doing stress management? These are the things we talk about during an assessment. And you can do one for free. You can book it at naturallyinspiredstore.com, or you can text me directly, 720-303-8868. I can't wait to meet you. All right, let's get to our naturally inspired moment of the day because we're getting near the end of December. Mind blown. We're going into 2026. 2026. I was talking to people today and I'm like, I'm booking you for like January here, like 2026. We are already headed into 2026. It's crazy. I know. I'm sure you feel the same way. But anyway, it's the perfect time right now to start doing a little bit of an audit, to start doing a little bit of reflection about 2025 and what tools you want to take forward with you for 2026. So that you can continue your transformation process and get to where you want to be, right? The results that you really want to truly enjoy. So let's look at 5 different questions that you can ask to help yourself evaluate 2025 and move forward in 2026. Number 1, this is a great question. Where did I act in alignment with my values? And where did I compromise them throughout 2025? So what energized me this year and what quietly drained me? So you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the times you said, yeah, sure, when you didn't want to do that at all, right? Do you have a hard time still saying no? Do you feel like you owe everybody an explanation when you say no? It could be because you aren't completely and truly clear about your values and what is priority to you. So when you get really, clear about your beliefs and your values, you know what they are, right? If it's family first, if it's health first, whatever it is, right? Everybody's list is different, okay? Health has to be at the top of the list though, right? Because without your health, you don't have anything. And so you got to make this list so that you are clear. That way, when you're presented with an opportunity to make a commitment or to change something or participate in something or do something, you got that list. And if it's not conducive with your values and your belief systems, all you got to say is, thanks for asking, but no, I'm not going to be able to do that. That's it. You don't actually owe anybody a big, long explanation. You don't. You've made some decisions that, your health's priority, your family's priority, whatever it is that you've decided that is high on your value list. You're completely entitled to that. You're completely entitled to that. And when you start sticking to it, you're going to notice a couple of things. Your confidence is going to soar, first of all. Because every time we compromise our values or our beliefs to please somebody else, we actually take a little bit of our own our self-respect away from ourselves. We don't respect ourselves because we think, I should have said no. I'm not sticking to my values. I'm compromising this when I really didn't want to. And that really can shake your confidence over time. If you do it a lot, you become unsure of your decisions and you struggle with making your own decisions. And when you struggle with making your own decisions, you let other people make the decisions for you by default because you're just not used to exercising that decisiveness. There's also a benefit to having somebody else make your decisions for you, right? Because then you can blame them when things go wrong. It's all about personal responsibility. But the more you practice it, the more you align your decisions with your priorities and values, your confidence will soar and you will understand that you're doing the right thing for yourself and you'll be less disappointed in your results. Number 2, what patterns kept repeating in your health, in your relationships, or at work? And what were they trying to teach me, right? So we just talked about this with the subconscious, right? And sometimes you have to look at somebody else. You have to, because you just don't see it in yourself. But when you can look at a friend or a family member, somebody you love, and you see them, repeating the same pattern, having the same outcomes, the same broken relationship, the same, chaos in their life, you can see a pattern. And then that's what you got to look for yourself, right? So what are the patterns that kept repeating in your health? Did you start something and not finish it? Okay. Did you make a commitment to yourself about a specific lifestyle action, like eating high protein or, moving your body in a certain way? And then if you didn't follow through on it, what was it that kept you from following through? Was it a thought? Because there's usually a thought before our action. And so take an audit of that. Are you repeating a thought over and over again that contributes to you not following through on the promises that you've made to yourself, the commitment that you've made to yourself with your health? Number 3, what did I tolerate this year that I no longer want to carry into 2026? Toleration is often the silent killer of progress. So maybe, you tolerated, I don't know, what example, maybe, you wanted to clean out a room or something and turn that into a exercise place. but, other people in your household, they didn't want to pick up their things. They didn't want to, they didn't want to help with that. They weren't, you really need them to do that so that you can, move through with your commitment. Did you put up with it the whole year? Or did you finally say, you know what, I'm moving it out myself. It's all going out on the deck, or it's all going outside, and you got to take it from there because I gave you, this amount of time to do this. I know that may seem bold, but sometimes we have to be bold to draw a line in the sand, because what we tolerate is what we get. And don't forget, we teach people how to treat us. So if you're letting, things slide, then you can't really be mad at other people because you didn't draw a line where it was a boundary that they felt like they could cross, right? Certain people, oh my gosh, I got to show up on time, right? Because this person gets really mad or they get really upset or they won't be there, right? The consequence to me being late meeting this person means they won't schedule with me anymore. I won't actually get their time. And so that's a consequence. And so we're much more aware, and we respect that boundary when we know that that is the standard that that person expects. So, you've got to make sure that people understand your standard. And that may mean, that you have to draw the boundaries. It's nothing personal. A lot of people just can't be on time. They don't have it together enough themselves to be on time. That's something that you have to decide if that's something you want to tolerate. And how much does that disrupt your life with somebody who is like that being a part of your life? And if it's worth it to you, then do it. If it's not, if it's causing too much chaos and it's not enough of a benefit, then don't. Don't. Where did I grow stronger, wiser, or more resilient in 2025? Even if it came through a challenge or a loss. Number 4, growth is often disguised as discomfort. Oh boy. So where did you grow stronger, wiser, or more resilient, even if it came through as a challenge or a loss? So important to recognize growth because we're growing forever. The whole life process is growth. And so if we can recognize, the areas that we were challenged at, but we made it through, and we can pick a few things that we learned through the process, then that's growth. And that needs to be recognized because as you enter a new year, guess what? There's going to be new opportunities for growth. I know. It's always this way. Number 5, ask yourself this. If I live 2026 as the healthiest, clearest, most purposeful version of myself, what would I do differently starting January 1st? Your future self already knows the answer. You already know what you need to be doing. There ain't no lack of information out here, right? There's a lot of information out here. It's a matter of really tuning in, like I said, tune into that frequency like a radio dial and getting focused on it, making it the priority, drawing the boundaries, taking action, momentum. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. Oh my gosh, stay tuned for the second hour because it's up next. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, Explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back. This is hour 2 of Naturally Inspired Radio. If you missed hour 1, we're having a discussion about pharmaceuticals when it comes to mental illness, because, of course, everybody's heard that Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered in their home, and allegedly that has been, their son has been accused of doing that, allegedly. And it's interesting, his background, because, just doing a little bit of, following the stories and doing a little bit of research on YouTube to watch a few of their interviews. They did make a movie together. There's some patterns that, they're pretty easily recognizable when you do the kind of research that I do. And definitely, there's some issues there, and addiction was part of the issue. And so it just makes me think, like, when did the pharmaceuticals enter the chat? A lot of these young kids get put on ADHD medication, and, that leads to mood issues, and they're highly medicated, and then their very existence, they can't function without being medicated. And so, you got to ask these questions, and I'm not trying to, be mean about what's happened to them, but, they're a public family. And the truth of the matter is the family down your street, families on your very street are dealing with similar situations, and they're out of their depth understanding the pharmaceutical fallout a lot of the times, because we aren't having these conversations. Every once in a while, like the docuseries I played a clip from here that was featured on Fox News 12 years ago. But yet you go to the doctor's office and, your kids are still being offered drugs for the way they feel. And this is a real problem. And we need to, what's the holdup here? What's the holdup? Anyway, so if you didn't catch the first hour, you got to go back after this second hour and catch the first hour. There's so many things happening in the news. But first, I want to remind you, American, that you do have an American culture. There is a concerted effort to make you think that you do not have a culture in this country, that there is no American culture. It's just a bunch of immigrants that came. Silence. There's a beautiful, fantastic, amazing culture around this country. And we do need to be reacquainted with it, though, because we've had it kind of beat out of us. And so that's why I'm taking time each day to kind of remind you of just how awesome that your culture is. And one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention today is that, did you know, because I was thinking about this as I was out with my animals on my farm, did you know that American culture has a very unique relationship with animals, comparatively speaking, to other places in the world? Americans, we value animals as companions and co-workers. Okay, so America uniquely treats animals as family members, pets in the home. We often sleep in the same rooms with our dogs, with our cats. But we also consider them working partners, right? Like ranch dogs, police horses, service dogs, and even therapy animals, right? Which is just such a beautiful expression of the relationship between humans and animals, is the therapeutic approach, which is it's just amazing what you're able to accomplish with the help of an animal when it comes to therapy and healing. Few cultures elevate animals simultaneously to emotional equals or functional partners, like a part of their daily living. Very few cultures do that. Frontier legacy. So respect through use. And that's rooted in our pioneer life in the American culture. So animals weren't ornamental. They were essential for survival. So we used them for hunting, ranching, herding, farming, shaped a utilitarian respect. So use without waste is an ethic, especially in frontier tradition. And this created a culture of practical reverence, not worship like other countries, but a respect and a reverence for animals. The cowboy and the ranch ethos, of course. The American cowboy is one of the world's most recognized symbols. And there's a deep bond between human, horse, and cattle. Values include independence, responsibility, land stewardship. And that's still very much alive today in ranching culture. It's not, it's been mythologized, but it isn't just mythology. It's active and alive and well here in America. It is part of our culture. Animals as extensions of freedom. America strongly connects animals with liberty because of open range grazing. Horses provide mobility and escape and self-reliance. And wildlife is a symbol of untamed land. So things like the bald eagle, they represent freedom and sovereignty in America. The buffalo represent abundance, endurance, and America itself. Or the Mustang, right? The wildness and independence of a horse. Animals aren't just creatures, they're spiritual symbols in our culture. Even for political parties, we use them. So they're very meaningful to us. And then, of course, we have national parks and wildlife preservation, which is uniquely early. The U.S. was the first nation to create a national park system. That was Yellowstone in 1872. We protected animals because they were wild, not just royal hunting grounds like Europe or sacred castles or sacred caste systems, rather, like in Asia. This reflects the belief that wild animals belong to the people, not just to elites. Animal advocacy. So only in America do you see the advocacy for animals with nonprofits, emotional support animals, right? Hospital visits with animals, and even with the regenerative revival, a regenerative farming revival, we are seeing the use and the return to purpose with animals. And so there's just, America doesn't separate animals into sacred or disposable things. We make them partners in freedom, work, and family. And this is very unique to America because in other places like India or the Middle East, it's very different. India has a sacred symbolism and detachment from animals. And in the Middle East, they look at it more as stewardship. But it's unique here in America. So that's part of American culture. When you come to America, we have a culture. It's how we do things around here. And how we do things around here is we are connected to our animals. You ain't going to hurt them around us. That's part of our culture. We honor them because we know they come from the land and they come ultimately from God. And so we respect that in America. That is very much a part of our culture. So we must work to claim our culture in America. Again, we do have one. I say this all the time, but I'm going to keep saying it. If you don't claim your culture, your American culture, somebody else gladly will. So it's very, very important. I mean, we see a rise of ridiculousness in America when it comes to the Muslim religion, where people are putting up signs in American communities that say, please don't walk your dog here, don't bring your dog here, because in their culture, they don't like dogs. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not how we do things around here. Dogs in America are man's best friend. We got to be respectful with our dogs, and we've got to be good stewards and owners of our dogs, but they're not going away because that's not how we do things around here. All right, let's get to some news stories because there was a great announcement that I want to share with you today. Fentanyl. Did you see this? Ooh, I really like this. Take a listen.
Today I'm taking one more step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
Oh, I like this. Why do you suppose he's doing that? A weapon of mass destruction. So I think the legalese around that, right? Because there's always some kind of strategy, especially with Trump, by declaring it a weapon of mass destruction. I think that will, deepen the legal ramifications for people who yield a weapon of mass destruction. And I think we've had enough of the fentanyl crisis. I don't think anybody's family hasn't been impacted by this. I think we've seen enough dead kids. I think we've seen enough zombified, lost, soulless people living on the streets with their families in ruins because of this disgusting drug. Which, listen, not everybody, but listen, a lot of addicts start out prescription medications. These are not people, that should be thrown away. Terrible people. Oh, they're just disgusting drug users. It can happen to anybody. And it does every single day because of this model that we continue to uphold. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. Stay tuned. Be back in a minute.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Special shout out to our new customers. So many of you have joined us. Got some new ones this morning. Susan, Marvin, welcome to Naturally Inspired. Welcome to the community. If you would like to pick your protocol, maybe you feel like, I don't really have time to do an assessment. I just really want to, handle my inflammation. Say, maybe that's an issue. Go to naturallyinspiredstore.com because we have all of the graphics there with different protocols loaded and ready for you to take advantage of. All you got to do is head on over there. There's all kinds of protocols, whether it's inflammation, maybe it's sleep, maybe it's hormone stuff, maybe who knows, right? We got all kinds of things. I keep putting them together because you keep asking me for them. And so I want to make sure they're easy and simple for you to access. So when you go on over there, naturallyinspiredstore.com, don't forget, you make a purchase over $50, you get a membership for 15% off of all wellness products for a lifetime. That membership never has to be renewed. You get to work with me one-on-one on my health text line. You get to attend our weekly wellness workshops on Tuesday nights, and so much more. There's a lot of benefits just for being a part of the Naturally Inspired community. So get your purchase, get your protocol at naturallyinspiredstore.com today. So fentanyl, like I was saying, I think we've seen enough videos of the dead kids. I think we've seen enough. And so this is, I think, another path to be able to bring the hammer down on fentanyl in our country. I wish this hammer was being brought down on our pharmaceutical industries as well, because I think a lot of the time it starts there. I wanted to share this headline with you too. This is from the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. They were calling on healthcare providers to stop promoting scientifically unsupported theory of brain chemical imbalance that causes depression. They're begging practitioners, but not all, but you got to understand the system is self-promoting, meaning, it's captured and it's self-promoting, meaning like when you go through the schools, the higher education, and you come out the other end, a doctor or psychiatrist or what have you, you've got a certain mandate. And you've learned how to prescribe medication. And you've learned the theories. And even if they are no longer true or been proven false, it takes like 17 years. You can look it up. It takes like 17 years for new research to be implemented at the point of service when it comes to healthcare. That is too long, right? Can we all agree that that is way too long? When we know something's causing harm, we need to be able to implement it pretty quickly, right? Because people are harmed by this. This is affecting our families. This is affecting people we love. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. I bring this up because I think what happens, and this is the opinion portion of this discussion. I'll just make that clear. This is the opinion portion of this discussion. This is my opinion, just my opinion. But I think that this is a pattern that's pretty easily detectable if you work with people and you listen. You listen to their stories and you listen to how things transpired when it comes to their kids. It goes something like this. Yeah, he just had a hard time sitting still in school. And, his teacher thought, maybe he needs to be tested for ADHD or, and so we did that and we started some medication and it seemed to help. But, he got into middle school and then he started smoking or drinking or smoking pot or whatever. And, we just thought, well, boys will be boys. But then it kind of escalated and, it was really getting out of control. And then, we had to put him in rehab and, he's been in and out of rehab over. And does this story sound familiar? Because it sure as heck sounds familiar to me. And this is a pattern. And I can't help but think, these little people, these kids, they have a really hard time articulating what they're feeling. They don't necessarily have the vocabulary to express things like anxiety, depression, frustration. Like a lot of it just comes out with what we interpret as bad behavior. Well, they're disruptive, right? But we never really look past that. Why are they disruptive? Because let me tell you, if you could ask an adult who's suffering from depression or anxiety, they'll tell you things like, I feel like I'm going to come out of my skin. I just am not comfortable in my own skin. People describe things like anxiety like that. So imagine going through that as a child and not really having the vocabulary to express that. Well, you just want it to stop. And so I think what's happening is a lot of this feelings of anxiety that could be coming from from not being able to detox properly, from living in a toxic soup that we live in called our environment with our food. The injections. I can come up with a whole pile of reasons why somebody might feel like they want to just, quote, come out of their skin. A lot of things in the environment that contribute to issues. Trauma, right? Hurt people. There's a lot of, compelling reasons as to why this might be happening. But instead of looking for root cause, we tend to medicate. And then that just starts a chain reaction of a neural pathway that understands that to feel better, you need to take medication. You need to change your state somehow because you can't stand the way you feel most of the time. To change your state, you take pills, you take drugs, this is a learned behavior. And so that's what I think happens when someone ends up on fentanyl in the street, homeless, and life is in ruins. And, we see this person. I try to remember when I see a person, bent over in a city in the fentanyl state, that's somebody's baby. And that some things have happened, and this is the way they have chosen to cope with what has happened. And I think we can do better as a society, as giving people more tools, better tools to be able to cope with things like, man, I feel like I want to come out of my skin, Because clearly the talking isn't just working. Talk alone doesn't work. And that's because we're multifaceted human beings, right? We have layers to us. There are a lot of variables. There's the biological component. There's the emotional component. There's the genetic component. There's neuroplasticity. There's neural pathways that are built. There's social programming. There's a lot of layers here. And we're actually not dealing with any of them at all, other than take this pill. Stop feeling the way you're feeling. And that's landed us in this epidemic of people who are susceptible to the pharmaceutical model. And then ultimately, those that spiral out of the traditional prescriptive model of pharmacia, well, they end up going out on their own to get it, don't they? So this designation of weapons of mass destruction, I don't know what the plan is, but there's a plan here. There's definitely a plan and a strategy here. This next story about your DNA will creep you out. I've been talking about this quite a lot because, the whole rollout of gene therapy is so strange, right? Because they rolled out COVID-19 shots as this is a vaccine, which it, of course, never was a vaccine. You know that. I know that. It wasn't a vaccine in the normal sense of a vaccine at all. It was a gene therapy. But gosh, don't call it a gene therapy. You're crazy. You got a tinfoil hat on. Okay. Now gene therapy is all fine, right? Whatever. It's just okay, what? Right. Anyway, I've always said gene therapy, they're never going to denounce it because it's just too big a market. They opened a Pandora's box of products here, and they're not going to close it. Take a listen to this.
Yeah, so to be clear, I think one of the things we're talking about here is that there are now weapons under development and developed that are designed to target specific people. Right, that's what this is, where you can actually take someone's DNA, take their medical profile, and you can target a biological weapon that will kill that person or take them off the battlefield or make them inoperable. So you can't have a discussion about this without talking about privacy and commercial data. And the protection of commercial data, because expectations of privacy have degraded over the last 20 years. Young folks actually have very little expectation of privacy. That's what the polling and the data show. And people will very rapidly spit into a cup and send it into 23andMe and get really interesting data about their background. And guess what? Their DNA is now owned by a private company and can be sold off with very little intellectual property protection or privacy protection. And we don't have legal and regulatory regimes to deal with that. So we have to have an open and public discussion, and this is going to have to be a political discussion about what does the protection of healthcare information, DNA information, and your data look like, because that data is actually going to be procured and collected by our adversaries for the development of these systems. Yeah,
that's already been happening. And that's, That's already been happening. Our data was, sent to China, as we know, for the Human Genome Project and whatnot. So that's already been happening. It's interesting. When I did some research on that fact, I was able to understand that China will not allow their people's data or genome, DNA, to be sent anywhere outside the CCP. Very interesting. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
NaturallyInspiredStore.com. Visit there today. If you have questions about the Naturally Inspired community, how do I become part of it? What do I do? How do I get that buy one, get one free deal on the collagen? Just text me, 720-303-8868. That's 720-303-8868. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have. It's really me. It's not a bot. It's not a chat bot. It's not anything like that. It really is me, and I will be sure to get back to you. So that last clip was Congressman Jason Crow. He's big on everybody just handing their DNA because I think, the conditioning is, well, I don't do anything wrong. He's talking about how younger people have a very low expectation of privacy. They don't want it. Okay. There's definitely been a conditioning in place where the expectation is you don't deserve any privacy, right? Because the Patriot Act and 9/11 ushered in so much of that, right? Where now these kids, they don't even know what it's like to truly be undetectable. Everybody's carrying around a detection device in their pocket everywhere they go all the time. And so they've been conditioned that they don't have a right to any privacy. But of course, with people like Noel Harari out there from the WEF tells you, you don't have a right to your data because your data is part of the information we need for the greater good. So you don't actually own your data. It's not yours to keep. It's part of the public sphere, your data. Which I don't know, that doesn't bode well with Gen X, right? Like, don't tell us what to do. And certainly that's none of your business. It's not that we're doing, this argument of, well, I don't do anything wrong, so what do I care? Are you stupid? Like, I'm sorry to be so blunt, but are you stupid? Are you stupid? Have you been to any kind of governmental organization ever? Do you understand how the government works? Do you understand how the world works? Bizarre. to me that these people walk amongst us. I don't do anything wrong. What do I care? Take my information, do what you want. I'll have programmable currency. It's just digital banking. You do that already. You already have a vaccine record. Remember that little card you got a lot? I honestly, sometimes when I hear these types of people talk about that stuff, I'm like, okay, how are you functioning in this world? Seriously, what spell are you under? Because it's almost like we're two different species here. You don't have any skepticism towards the government at all? None? Never heard of JFK? Hello. Anybody in there? Really, it's something else, let me tell you. So yeah, imagine if they can form a bioweapon with your DNA. And oh, by the way, let's just remember too. Do you remember when Bobby Kennedy was hidden recording exposed Bobby Kennedy at a dinner where he said, this COVID, it's a bioweapon. And turns out, that it's been designed to affect certain ethnicities worse than others. How dare you say that? Everybody freaked out. What a racist. Oh, what a bigot. That was anti-Semitic. What? What are you talking about? No? Now it's just out there. Now everybody just recognizes it. Yep. Yep. You can make bioweaponry according to people's genetics, and you can take out these people. And, it's a death cult. I don't even, Canada's made, they're killing people over there because they can't pay their rent. And then they're selling their organs. True story. You can look it up. So the more people on MAID, well, why not? Because we're lowering the population and we're making money off their organs. Yippee! Remember how I said everything's a racket? Because it is. Everything's a racket. They're making money on this end. They're making money on that end. It's a system they're building. These people didn't get rich by, creating one business model and they make money this way and they'll just keep doing the right thing. It's multiple streams of income, if you will. They're going to make money on you when you're birthed into the world, and they'll make money on you going out. That's how they do it. So, privacy, definitely a big, big topic coming into the near future. I mean, we've already have very little privacy, but the question is what happens when they start weaponizing that data against us? That's when we're going to have some real serious issues, right? Take this vax or you don't eat this week. That type of thing. Yeah, that's coming. In other news, I think I mentioned this the other day when Dean Lerwick from Pumpkin Creek was on with us, family rancher. We've been talking about the changes in ranching, the changes that are going on. And we mentioned that, JBS had shut down a big plant in Nebraska. And looks like they're shutting down another one. This is a headline here. JBS closes California beef plant. So that's interesting. Permanently closing plants. Now, are people buying less beef? I don't think so. I think people are actually buying more beef. I think the price of beef is crazy. It's, quite high. But I don't see people stepping away from beef. It's just too nutrient dense. And more people are understanding that the priority of protein, and a perfect protein like beef, chicken, eggs, animal-based protein, is so incredibly valuable to their metabolic health that I don't think it's an issue of, customer demand. No. I do, however, think things are changing in the marketplace. And we've seen, little indications of that throughout, especially, I have to say, but a lot of things changed after, during COVID. Just coincidentally, right? We just had an explosion of social issues when COVID hit. I'm sure it's a coincidence, right? Doesn't all add up to the Great Reset or, the digital revolution. Now that's craziness. That's conspiratorial talk. We don't do that here. No. Anyway, a lot of things changed, and we saw, Bill Gates has been heavily invested in the fake food market, fake butter, lab-grown meat, cloning, lots of things in order to get his hooks into the food supply. This guy, he really wants to be involved in all the things that you need to survive on this planet. His last name's Gates. And I think that's kind of ironic because he seems to want to be the gatekeeper in between you and the things that you need to live. Water, food, air. I mean, the sun, for goodness sakes, He really likes to put himself in the position of gatekeeper, meaning you got to pay a toll before you get in on the very things that you need to live. And so that's what I see changing in the marketplace is this shift to, again, it's the same pattern, you guys, right? Because darkness, Satan, whatever you want to call it, can't create. It can't create. And so it has to synthesize. And it really can't come up with any new good ideas of its own either. So it takes what occurs naturally and it synthesizes it, it repackages it, and it sells it back to you for profit and control. And that's what's happening with our food. Sean Buckley's I'm actually going to reach out to Sean, I think, for my conversations that are starting up again in January and maybe have a discussion with him. I'm quite intrigued with the work that he's doing. He's representing the Natural Health Society there in Canada to protect the access to supplementation. And he posted this little video, which I found very interesting. So this is from Sean Buckley's X account, I believe. He's informing a rancher about the changes that are coming to the beef industry in Canada and also here. Take a listen.
So what happened is Health Canada has been taking the position for a while that cloned meat would be a novel food. And for a novel food, then, if you want to sell it, you have to prove it's safe. But how do you prove cloned meat safe? There's no human studies, there's no animal studies. And the process lends itself to genetic defects, right? So they announced just on their website, they just changed a couple of paragraphs saying, well, we're going to reclassify just as normal food so that, people can start selling it without any labeling or anything. Well, media, by design, goes nuts. They don't question whether it's safe, and they don't question whether we should be eating it. They just say, shouldn't Canadians know? Shouldn't it be labeled, right? So now we're looking at the issue, should it be labeled, not should we be eating it at all. And, so Health Canada's backed off. And so they'll come back eventually and say, well, we'll allow it with really super strict labeling. And everyone will go, oh, we won, there's labeling, and we haven't even had the discussion, should we be eating cloned meat?
What is cloned meat?
So cloned meat is you've got that prize bull and they've taken the nucleus genetic material out of a cell and they put it into an egg and they manipulate the egg. So
embryos are
So that's what they mean. But I mean, it's way more expensive and problematic to do that. So people like you aren't lining up to sell cloned meat. So why do they want to do it? Well, Health Canada says in their discussion document, the real advantage is biopharmaceuticals, biochemicals, and introducing genetic modifications into the population. So that's what it's all about. They're just getting us ready for bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's all about money, people. It's about patents. It's about bioengineering your food and being able to control the food supply. It's so incredibly passive aggressive. Ugh, just grosses me out. The Canadian government is so passive aggressive. I mean, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I'd rather someone just come out and punch me in the face. Don't act like you're doing something good with a smile on your face when you're pure evil. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for your health topic.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Take advantage of all the buy one, get one free. This is a great way to gift something like a wellness basket to somebody. You can put together all of the buy one, get one frees into a little basket, give that away as a gift, and then you can keep the other one for yourself. That's a wonderful way, and it's always good to give the gift of wellness. Let me tell you, a lot of times finances restrict people from starting on a protocol that they know they need. And so the gift of wellness is truly, I don't think there's a better one that you can give, because you could really jumpstart somebody's optimum health just by getting them started with the gift of wellness. So you can do it today at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Check out all the buy one, get one free deals. If you need any help with gift giving, just text me 720-303-8868. I love gift giving. I'm really good at it. It's actually one of my hidden talents. So you just tell me who you're buying for, and I'll ask you a few questions about them, and I know we can come up with something really, really meaningful for that special person in your life. So just text me 720-303-8868 or book an assessment at naturallyinspiredstore.com. I'd love to sit down with you. Okay, your health topic today. Lots of questions about this lately. So we're going to be talking about your gallbladder. So how do you know? A lot of people have to have their gallbladder out. It's not something that I'm on the side of, okay? But I understand it happens, and sometimes we don't know. But anyway, so here are some common overlooked symptoms of gallbladder dysfunction. So right upper abdominal pain, usually pressure, especially after eating fatty meals. Pain that radiates to the right shoulder blade or your mid-back. Nausea after eating. Bloating or gas after consuming fattier foods. Floating, pale, or greasy stools, constipation because bile stimulates bowel movement, heartburn, reflux that doesn't respond well to, any of the remedies that you take, feeling overly full after not really eating that much. So, you can have food reactions and nutrient issues like fat intolerance or aversion to greasy foods, poor absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, and K, easy bruising, dry skin or eyes, hormonal detox signals like estrogen dominance, so heavy PMS, breast tenderness, headaches, migraines, sensitivity to medications or even alcohol, chemical sensitivities. There's also kind of like weird symptoms, if you will, like chronic right side, neck, or shoulder tension, a bitter taste in your mouth, bad breath despite good oral hygiene, fatigue after eating, mood changes after eating, skin issues like acne or rashes or itching. And these are some acute warning signs, right? If you have severe, sharp sharp pain with fever and chills, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, like clay-colored stools, persistent vomiting. These are all signs that you need to go seek medical attention immediately. Okay, so here are some functional oversights, though, that you might want to know about gallbladder dysfunction. Gallbladder is where we store like decision making and courage. And so symptoms worsen with your gallbladder when you're under stress, when you're suppressing anger, when you feel indecisive, you can't make a decision, or you feel stuck. So, some natural support if you're feeling like, you're having issues with your gallbladder, explore stress, right? Look for solutions to mute stress. Activate your vagus nerve, right? Get into a routine of managing stress and releasing anger, and take steps to make decisions purposefully. Be mindful that you're taking your power back to make decisions. Okay, these are some things that you can do, actions that you can do to support your gallbladder. All right, let's get into some lesser known and often overlooked causes of gallbladder problems. This is very interesting to me. Low-fat dieting. Low-fat dieting can cause gallbladder dysfunction. So the gallbladder is a use it or lose it organ. So when you really restrict fat intake, it triggers gallbladder contraction. And long-term low-fat diets create bile stagnation, create that sludge, and sometimes even stones. So it's very common in people who have dieted for years. No fat equals bile movement, no bile movement. Okay, so that's an unknown cause. Rarely known, I would say. Number 2, hormonal imbalance, so especially estrogen dominance. So if you have increased estrogen levels, maybe you're, exposed to xenoestrogens like plastics and phthalates and estrogen mimickers. It increases cholesterol in bile, and it reduces bile flow, makes bile thicker and more likely to crystallize. It's also seen in birth control. This is a big one, big one, big one. Gosh, I wish I had the stats on that. I don't know if they've ever done the stats on that because, birth control is a huge moneymaker for pharma, and it's virtually considered harmless when it's not, but they portray it that way. But I'd love to know how many people, who had their gallbladders out or had difficulty with gallbladders, with their gallbladder, were on birth control. Just like, that would be great data to know. Perimenopause and menopause, if not, living lifestyle to promote the transition of life in a healthy way can be a variable. Hormone replacement therapy can be a variable with gallbladder issues. Vagus nerve and stress dysfunction. So the gallbladder is parasympathetic driven. So chronic stress, meaning you have low vagal tone, can be an issue. Poor rest and digest signaling. The gallbladder doesn't contract efficiently when you're stuck in fight or flight. So this is why gallbladder issues often appear during divorce, during caregiver, right? When you are the caregiver of someone else, a loved one, when you've experienced a traumatic incident, whether it be like a car accident or a betrayal, the body doesn't know the difference. It's all high stress. Long-term anxiety can also be an issue. Number 4, liver congestion. So not just liver disease here, talking about congestion. So the liver makes bile, the gallbladder stores it. Toxins, medications, alcohol, seed oils, these all burden the liver and create congestion around the liver. That leads to blood sugar dysregulation and non-alcoholic fatty liver patterns. So poor bile quality stresses the gallbladder. Number 5 is gut dysbiosis and low stomach acid. Many people think when you have heartburn or acid reflux, oh, I've got too much stomach acid. No, you don't have enough. You don't have enough to keep it down in its place and to make sure that that esophageal flap keeps the acid in place. So it's actually low stomach acid. What contributes to low stomach acid? Low sodium intake is one of the variables. Anyway, I digress. Bile flow depends on a healthy gut-liver feedback loop. So low stomach acid equals poor signaling to release bile. Dysbiotic bacteria, bile, it disrupts bile salts improperly, leads to bile thickening and poor fat digestion. It's often missed in people with bloating or constipation or acid reflux. Again, the body whispers before it screams. And so when you're getting things like acid reflux, if you have constipation, if you're dealing with bloating, listen. You have to respond to those communications. Otherwise, the body escalates the issue. And then you have worse problems like gallbladder. Okay. Number 6, rapid weight loss can be an issue. This is one of the strongest gallstone risk factors, and yet it's rarely discussed. So rapid fat breakdown floods bile with cholesterol. Gallbladder can't keep up with it. And this is very common in bariatric surgery, GLP-1 drugs, extreme calorie restriction, and crash dieting and yo-yo dieting. There should be no such thing as the word diet in your vocabulary. It's just meals. It's just food. It's a lifestyle, right? You're making choices to curate a lifestyle that brings you the health results that you want. Ain't no diet, It's not going to work. You need to transform your lifestyle, and you got to love doing it. So it can only be done by you. You're the only one that knows what you're going to enjoy doing and the lifestyle that you're going to curate that will make you feel good and that you will love. Going on someone else's protocol with a crash diet for this or that, but it's not sustainable. I hope we can put diet culture to bed. It's so out of style. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. And I think it creates a lot of dogma around health as well. It's like little tribes. I'm in the carnivore tribe. I'm in the vegetarian tribe. I'm in this. It's food. It's food. And it's information and communication that you're putting in your body, and you're trying to get optimum operational results here. So how do you do that? Well, you feed your body with good communication, right? Good information, AKA whole foods that it understands, it has receptors for. It's not fake food. It's not frankenfood. It's not weird cloned food where the body goes, I'm not quite sure what this is. Store it. Put it in the fat hole. That's what it does when it doesn't understand, right? Toxins are stored in our fat. So just eat real food. It's really contributing to so much problems that don't need to happen. I'm really concerned about the GLP-1 drugs these days. Number 7, emotional suppression. So this is a traditional Chinese medicine take, which I value very much. In traditional Chinese medicine, gallbladder is linked to decision-making and courage. So liver gallbladder stagnation, again, is linked to repressed anger, indecision, feeling stuck, feeling resentful. These are reasons why you could be dealing, some more unknown reasons why you might be dealing with gallbladder issues. Of course, you can support your optimum health lifestyle, right? A wonderful way to do that is through cleaning up inflammation, right? So one of the ways, support your liver detox. We have a wonderful liver detox protocol. Pile in the polyphenols, right? To open up oxygenation, tackle inflammation, omega-3s. These are all wonderful things, tools. But of course, it starts with you. It starts with diet, stress management, You can always text me, 720-303-8868. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.